And as we begin our journey through the tool, I want you to understand before we end this training, you will know the layout of the tool, how it works. You will also know how to create a module and a submodule. And you will also know what best practices modules would entail. Okay, so let me start by sharing my screen with you and go into a course.
You don't go into it, you don't see it. I want you to see it. So that. See how she's doing? When she's going into it, you get it? Good, cool.
Please mute your mic, please. Okay, great. So from here, I'm in my training course, and I'm going to click on the content link in the top course navigation bar. And once I arrive on the content table of contents page, it will show you the layout of what the tool entails. So for example, with the content tool, it's basically used as a roadmap for your course. You know, you upload modules, you upload different assignment instructions for students. And what it consists of modules on your left, and then it consists of submodules in the middle. Okay. And there are four important areas you need to know. That is, the first area is the overview section. We will talk about the bookmarks session. We will also talk about the course schedule section, and then the table of content is where all the building goes down into your content. Okay, so let's start with the overview section. The overview section allows you to quickly add material to your course. Okay, so I'm going to take this information out and show you what it actually looks like when you click on it. So when you click on your overview, oftentimes you can't really tell where you get started, but if you just hover over right up under the word overview, it will give you the ability to edit a description and an overview. So this is where the important pieces are. You would go start here where it says insert stuff. You have the ability to use YouTube video and also video note and Uja. Okay, if you went to the Todd user training, you have the ability to add that, and I'm sure he covered that piece for you. So, for instance, if you wanted to use video note to insert something, you can click on add video, and then you can start by clicking the word allow. And once you click allow, you can start recording. Okay, so once you have done that and you've saved your video, you can import it into this area with an additional verbiage that you want to use surrounding your video. But for the most part, you can just turn the caption on and it will allow you to create the video seamlessly. The next area is insert images. It works just like any other tool. You can insert an image by clicking on this feature. And you can pull the image from your computer or use a URL to add that. And let me see. The next feature is a link. The link is a great link because you have the ability to go in here and search for information, for example, on YouTube training, right? So when you go to YouTube and if it's quick enough, you can search here on training. So what will happen, whatever link you decide to choose, you grab that link here and you copy it. Once you copy that link, you click on the insert link, quick link. Scroll down to URL because that's what your link will be. And you would paste the URL in there and then you would type in the title, Training 101. And then what you want to do is make certain that you open it in a new window, which is already set by default, but just make sure it's turned on. And you just click insert. And what it means when it says open in a new window, you see right over here where I was working inside the tool. And then this is the new window, what is speaking, the LMS is speaking of, open in a new window. So you can basically go back to where you started. So I'm going to click insert. And when I click insert, the only thing I would do is do update. And when I click update, it will allow me to click on this link seamlessly and go back to that link that I copied related to whatever training that it was. Okay, so the next feature is you can insert symbols and emojis and insert attributes and insert lines. And it's basically, this is just the HTML box that allows you to do all the functionalities that you would use somewhat in a Word file. Okay, so you would do your headers. If you wanted to do headers, you can use the bold feature, the italics, the underline, and you can also use the strike throughs. But for the most part in this area, basically faculty use this overview section just to create an overview of the course. They upload their videos from wherever, YouTube or insert video, or they just type in a nice long overview message with their image about them and who, you know, their the things that happen along their career path as a faculty person. So once they do that, you click update and then you'll have your information in there. And so, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It basically needs to be whatever meets your comfort level, and long as it's student centered, the information will be fine. Okay, but for the most part, like I said, faculty use the overview section to write a simple overview of the course and provide professional information about themselves, or they also use a video note or YouTube or Usia to talk about their the course as a whole. Okay, so I'm gonna cancel that. And then we're gonna go here. And when you're building your content, you want to do the same thing as I mentioned about the gradebook. You want to keep it simple. Okay, you don't, when you do your book, when you do your overview, just think of simple process, adding information, and don't try to overdo it, because students will take a glance at this, but they don't spend most of their time here. If you have a video here, you need to make sure you email them and let them know that's where they get started in the overview section. And then they will likely understand what they need to do based on your instructions, okay? Especially during this time. I think they've extended it to 30 minutes. It used to be 10, and so they extended it. There used to be 3, then they moved it to 10. Now it's at 30 minutes, so you have the ability to do that. So the bookmarks. The bookmarks is just like a bookmark as if you were reading a book and you put a bookmark there. So basically what happens, for example, if I go here to the getting started and I click on how this course works, that's a topic that I'm reading, right? When I'm reading this topic, let's just say I got an interruption or I'm tired and I want to continue where I left off the next day. This is the bookmark feature here. Once you click on it, it will give you a message. It should have given me a message saying that it's bookmarked. And then what I would do is I would log out or go back to what I was doing, and you'll see in the bookmark area that there's one bookmark. So if I click on bookmarks, it shows me where I left off last. So I would click on how this course works and just continue with my reading. This is especially used for students as they're reading through your content, and it's also used for faculty who are learning to teach someone else's online course. So it can use interchangeably. So once you are finished viewing this, how the course works, module topic, what you would do is just click off, and then when you go back to getting started, your bookmark no longer appears. Okay, so we talked about the overview section and the bookmark section. So I'm going to move on to course schedule. Course schedule now is something that students actually use. They depend on the course schedule. And the reason I say that is because they look for due dates for assignments. They have so much going on like we do. So what they do is they don't only attend your class on ground or hybrid or online. So what they want to do is make sure they have everything completed throughout the course of the semester, and they depend on this course schedule to do that. So what you can see here, I have something due today, and it's a quiz due today, and it has been open, let's say, since the first day of class or the first of the week, right? So what this means that this assignment is due tonight at 11:59, and they can obviously tell that it's a quiz that's due. Okay, for tomorrow, they depend on this to know what's due the next day so they can keep their schedule intact. And what they notice is that they have a discussion topic that's due that they need to respond to. And how they know it's a discussion, you see these little bubbles here that looks like text bubbles. That's how we know that that's a discussion that's taking place. And let me go back and talk about the quiz. The quiz has a symbol as well, and it's a question mark. So that's how you know it's a quiz that's being provided. So yeah, the students depend on the course schedule simply because they want to know what's coming up today and what's coming up tomorrow, and also what's coming up in the next 7 days. So as you can see, the career report is due next week. And how I know it's a writing assignment or what it used to be Dropbox assignments. If you hover over this, it just says career report, but this symbol means that it's a Dropbox or a written assignment for the assignments tool. Okay, so we have three things that's due in the assignments tools in which we have. So we have the Dropbox assignment, which is now called the assignments tool. We also have the discussion tool where students do assignments, and we also have the quiz tool for an assignment. So I would just wanted to make sure you guys saw an example of each of the tools, what's due upcoming for the students. Okay. Then if you go over here to the far right and click on full schedule, typically these dates supposed to be filled with current dates. And this is where it becomes a problem when we don't have enough policing in our courses. You'll find that there are dates put out there since 2018. They need to be removed because if students log in and see this, it confuses them. So I did this intentionally so that you can see what it looks like and what it should look like. So the first day that they would need to have in their calendar would have been what we have here. Make sure. Yeah, this first date here, since it's within the semester. But all the other dates from 2019 all the way up to 2018, those 4 items will really need to be removed. Okay, so just remember as you are building your content and you're adding dates to your tools, your content, I mean your discussion quiz and your Dropbox assignment, I keep saying Dropbox, assignments tool, make sure that you remove those old dates from your calendar, okay? Because otherwise, this will confuse them, okay? So I'm going to now go over to the table of contents. The table of contents pretty much provide the students with everything that they need based on your chapter or modules. Some courses have up to 13 to 14 modules. Some courses have like 5 to 6 units that students use, and for information on how to progress through the course, or it all depends on your textbook that you choose as well. Okay. And oftentimes when you use publisher material, you always want to make certain that you add that piece in there as well within the module so that they'll know what's expected of them. Okay. So with the table of contents, what these numbers here mean, it means that it has 17 items within the content tool. Right here in the course schedule, that means I had 3 items in the course schedule. I had something due tonight, tomorrow, and something due next week. So that's what those numbers represent. The content tool, what will happen with the content tool, basically when you get in your course, you will have a getting started module that will already be in there for you. And we allow faculty to use this module as an example of how your getting started module should look. And what you would do in each one of these files, for example, how this course works, you would use these files for students' information, and then you would also tailor this information to your course. So, for example, if I scroll through here and I go to next, these are the next tabs that allows you to move progress next, or you can go back to the previous. So if I go here about the content in the area, this is where you start talking about your course in a sense, okay? And what I mean by tailor it to your course, you would add all the assignments that are due within the assignments tool here. You would talk about how your discussions, if you wanted to leave the verbiage that was added by the DE team, you can leave that verbiage, but you also would talk in depth about your Dropbox assignment or your discussion assignments and your quizzes. You can take and add as you need to. And then the grades tool. But most of the information is here is really good information to help you get a good start in your getting started. But I've seen, like with the English teachers, they take everything and they put their list of assignments. Excuse me, I'll go back here to show you. They take their list of assignments and they go and they just add all the modules that are due here. They put a list here. They put the number of quizzes here and the discussions topic. So like I said, this is great information. You can use it for your course, and we advise you to use the Getting Started module because it's the current image. If you do not have these, the bright space daylight images, which is just this white background, that means that you need to update your Getting Started module and ask and request to have an updated images, because what I've seen in some courses when I review them, I see that they have the old images of pause where we had the red background before we moved into daylight. Okay, and what I mean by daylight is, again, you see the white background, you do not see all the color that we used to have. Okay, and here's another list of things of how you can communicate with your students. So this tool, these topics, these module topics, that's what they're called. You want to take advantage of them so you don't have to work so hard. So basically, if I was a new student taking your course, it would benefit me a great deal if I had some guidance on how to get started, where to get started. What are you doing? What are you expecting of me? What am I expecting of you? So having this new getting started module in your course, whether it's web assisted, whether it's hybrid, whether it's online, you want to make certain that you have these topics in your course to address some of the things that students may have questions about, especially those that attend online learning for the first time. We often take for granted because we're faculty, we're building, we know exactly what's on our brain and what we want, but we need to look at things from a student's perspective. Excuse me, losing my voice. We doing things from a student's perspective so that they can, feel comfortable in taking your online course. They don't want to feel overwhelmed. Okay. So always think of that when you're building your content. You want to do the little small things to make it work for them. So again, use these module topics, and how I get back, I can go here to getting started, go back, click on that link. It'll take me back to the module topics. These are topics, okay? This is a module itself, getting started, and I'll show you how to create a module in a minute. But yeah, use these topics, take advantage of them. They're necessary, especially online courses do not have the option not to use it. Okay, but we do recommend it for all your courses to use this getting started. And the only thing about the getting started that you would need to add will be your syllabus. Okay, you would use your syllabus. If you are web assisted, you would be able to add your syllabus, and I'll show you how to add content in a minute. Now let's talk about best practices. What I want to do is give you a great example of a module and what your module should look like in the environment, whether you're teaching on ground, whether you're teaching hybrid or fully online. For sure, fully online. What you see here is a module called Purpose and Tone. you will notice that I do not put date restrictions on a module. I do not do that because I work in an online environment, and that gives me the ability to go in every Monday and say, hey, good morning. Your module 9 is open. Please read your textbook and read all the information in module 9, take your quiz, and post your discussion. And I guess you say, well, Kim, why are you repeating that when you already have it in the module? That's my way of having my attendance recording inside the learning environment. So I force myself not to put dates in there so I can go in and communicate with them. Then of course you'll see the first week of classes, students will send you emails back about what you said to them and what you want to do is make sure you have all that communication regarding your module topics and assignments inside the learning environment. That really helps them. So repeating things on what's due that week is not a bad thing, especially for online learning. You want to make sure you log in and communicate with your students about the assignment. So here, inside here, this is called editing properties in place. So if I click on it, it'll be just like when I tried to show you guys about the overview section. And when you just hover over that little blue area and it will open up the HTML box. And what I've done is carefully crafted a description about the particular module, which I'm giving students an understanding of what is expected of them and what they will be engaged in during this module process. Okay, so I put all that information in there and I click update, right? So they will know they don't have any misunderstanding about what I expect for them for this module. And what I've noticed over the years, if this helps some of you, once you take advice from the digital learning team and know how to create a best module from best practices, your course will run itself. I would have thought that during this time I would have had a huge amount of emails. I check my class after I log off for the day, and my class basically run itself because I have things structured in a manner where it's not confusing for them. So I will go in and I may have one question in one class and two questions in the other. But when your students are confused about the layout of the content, that will be the most emails you will have throughout your process if you do not, your teaching process, if you do not provide enough information within the content of the module. That's the purpose of this description box. Okay, so you guys can take pictures, you can do screenshots of this and take it as a guide and use it as a guide for your course so that they will know what's expected of them within the module. Okay, so now once I did that, once the student clicks on the module, let's say I'm a student and I click on it, and I read this information, I'm like, oh, okay, I understand. So what I got to do now is just click on these topics and then look at these additional resources. And then I take my quiz and my discussion. So everything is built within this module where they don't have to leave the module. So for example, when you click on purpose and tone objectives, they will go in and they will read the objectives, or they will turn on the listen read speaker and this will read it for them. Okay, and what this is a module where if you look here closely, it says web page, web page, web page, web page. What that means that this is an accessible web page with content where students with screen readers can read the information with their screen reader. Okay, so whenever you have content, you want to make sure that it's in accessible format. And hopefully, depend upon how things go with our LMS, we'll be able to have a tool that automatically converts the PDFs and the PowerPoints into that format for us. But for now, this is called an accessible file. So what students would do is they would progress to the next topic, which will be the learning overview. Okay, and then you kind of set your overview up however you want to based on your book. Okay, and what's next? Because this is a read for ACAD course, it was a recap for ACAD course, which I took the module from. I provided how to complete their module. I told them what to do, basically, step by step. And I do this because these are first time college students for the most part. Some have been in an online environment, but it may have been in a different environment, and their information, the course structure was probably structured different. So we can't take for granted that they automatically know. So when you complete your module topics and use the accessible file, you want to be as detailed as possible as you can. Okay, so I not only have how to finish this module, I also gave them information on how to finish their ACAT assignment. Okay, and then we go to the next topic and we talk about the summary. I talk about the chapter summary, and a lot of the information you can get from the publisher, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. But based on your experience of the topic, you can, you know, you can make sure you add your own personal touch to it. But like I say, the publishers, they have overviews, objectives, they have all the things you need to make your course a well-designed course. As you look, and when I kept progressing through the course, you'll notice that I have additional resources here. Okay, I have a PowerPoint, I have a purpose and tone skill tips links, and I have a purpose and tone practice link, and a purpose and tone game activity. So, what you want to do throughout the semester as you're building content, when you click on this PowerPoint, you need to make sure it's uploading correctly. Because oftentimes things change, and you want to make sure the topic is consistent with what you have within the learning environment and what it means to the students. Okay. You want to have all the good information they need in understanding what is the purpose and the tone of a reader and why authors ask what they ask, for example. So I will progress to the next, and it will open up a link where I provided them information on the author's purpose and tone. And before they finish with this section, I don't care if they don't learn anything else in my course, as long as they know that they can go and communicate to the world that the author purpose is to inform, to persuade, and entertain each time they pick up a book or look at a movie or whatever, they will understand this concept. If they can repeat this to me at the end of the semester, I have done my job as a faculty instructor. Okay, so this next, I'm going to progress through. My throat is killing me. Progress through the next activity. And what happens is they can go in and take this online, and they hit submit, and then they'll give them their answers back. Okay. To next one. This is another example. Hopefully it's working. And oftentimes you got to check your links within your content to make sure it works. And to us, this may seem like, oh, she's giving them little kid stuff. You'll be surprised. The grade levels that you can access to help students understand a certain unit. And the next area, we fall right into our assessment activities. Okay, so what I've done, I've basically given them some information about their discussion, how they can access their discussion and their quiz from this module. So once they click on their discussion, it will take them to the discussion room, and then they can start their thread of their discussion. And then they progress to their quiz, and it will allow them to take their quiz. And then once they're done, it will proceed to the next module. Okay, or take them back to their original one. So starting here with the building your module, you name it, and then you put a description, give them great details. You add your topics, you add your additional resources, which this is called a submodule, and then you add your assessment activities module. Okay, so I'll show you how to do all those things, but for best practices, this is how a best practice module should look when you start creating it. You want to give them as much information as you can. Okay, so I'm going to go here and just play around in here. I know Teresa and Kendall is going to get me, but out when I'm finished. Okay. So when you arrive here, you go to your content. Let me talk about one more thing before I go. No, I don't want to throw you off. Let me just stay focused on this. Okay, so here, this is typically what your course would look like when you first get it from digital learning. We will automatically put the getting started in your module, and excuse me, in your content area, and then we will add the attendance tool in your course as well. So you'll see both of them, the attendance tool instructions, and then you'll see the getting started. But for now, I'm going to play around in here, and Kendall and Teresa, I will delete it. Over here to your left, so we've talked about the overview, the bookmarks, the course schedule. We've talked about the table of contents and what a best practices module should look like, right? So you got all the details of that. So now I want to create a module. So I'm going to go in here and click inside where it says add a module. So when I click there, I'm going to name my module, Module 1, Training 101, right? And then all I do is hit enter. So when I hit enter, a module automatically opens for me. Okay. And this is where I would go here. I would not turn on my restrictions or dates or anything because I want to have the opportunity to be able to log in every day and communicate with my students, especially if it's in an online environment. Over to your far right, you will see visible, right? So if I click on visible, it makes it visible to the students. But if I click in and turn that off, you'll see that an eyeball with a slash through it over here to the left and here. That means that you have your modules turned off and students cannot view it. Okay. So what I do for the reading students, I open one module every week. I don't have all my modules open at once. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to do it that way, but for best practices of the tool and for time we're on task with you as an instructor and the students, that helps me to log in every day, every Monday, and email them and then I go in and open up the module like this and it becomes available. And when I do that, they have access to it. Now, I have had a few students to say, well, can we go to the next module? No, because when you log in, I just need you to focus on this first week module. And then after week 1 is over, I will go in and open up, unhide, make visible, in other words, the second week module. So that's how I stay on task with my attendance as an instructor, because we have gotten complaints that faculty do not log into their courses. And we don't like to hear those things. That happened one time at TBR level, and they removed the faculty. So that helps me to remember some of the best practices, what I need to do over the years that I have been teaching the course, and it has worked. And as I stated earlier, the course has pretty much, it teaches itself. When you have a good laid out course in the process. And not saying that I don't need to make improvements. I'm sure I do in some places, but it helps when you have your modules hidden and you're able to go in and turn them back on for them, and it helps you to stay on task with the students every week. Now, for the higher level courses, like the 2000 level courses, if they're not beginning students, yeah, you can have your modules open however you want to. Just list them out. Oftentimes, especially when a student logs into a course and they see a lot of modules, they get overwhelmed. So that's why I take it step by step, especially with the first time students. But anyway, so you know what the add dates and restrictions are. And now you can use these if you want. I mean, what it does is just turn on the assignment, make the module available for you. But then oftentimes we make a mistake and we don't put the correct end date, then it disappears. And that's the reason I don't use this module, restriction times and dates, because when you use it, it turns it on, it turns it off. And when you turn it off, it disappears. So if I want students to learn a certain math skill or learn, let's just say something on blood work or learn something on veins, if I was teaching an anatomy and physiology course, I would want to keep week 1 and week 2 on to talk about the blood work, to talk about the bones, to talk about the veins. Because if we're going to the next chapter and we're getting the next week, which is week 3, and we're ready to talk about the skull and the brain, so that means that my students can't go back and see the first two modules because I've set these restriction dates. So it's their content to see, and you want to make certain that they're able to see the content, okay, at all times whenever it opens. Once it opens, just let it stay available. So I just avoid using this because it takes up a lot of times. We already need to place dates and quizzes and discussions in the Dropbox area. So this is an added piece that you would need to do, and it's just extra work, I think, preferably. Then your next step will be to add a description. And you would always start out the module by saying, this module will da 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 da. Okay, and then once you define what the module is about and you've given them specific instructions about each of the topics that they're going to view and their assessment activities, then you click update. Okay, and when you click update, this is where it all begins. You can start here where the upload and create button is. Just do the drop down, and the very first item is upload a file. So what you would do is go to your computer and choose the destination. Oh, well, upload a file. So let's just say, let me find something that's not. I'm still looking. I can't believe I can't find anything. OTC. Okay, I found the topic. Then I need to choose a destination. So what you do, you upload, then you, once the file arrives here, then you do choose destination. Select path, and then you do add. Okay, so what you've seen here is that I've uploaded a Word document. Okay, and the next area you would use, let me just click on that so you can see it. Now, one thing you need to understand about Word documents, when you have a Word document, you don't have the ability to edit this. Okay, the only ability you have to really do is to change this file again. So if I wanted to change this file, I would have to go back to my desktop, make corrections, and then come back, and then I would change the file, and it will allow me to upload the most recent file. Then you have the ability to just delete it. So for the most part, just remember that. I always tell faculty what I would do. I would copy all this information out of my Word file, and then I would make me the correct template for a web page. And I'll talk to you about that in a second. So this is an example of what it looks like when you import, you upload a Word file into the content tool. So the next area I want to show you is you can do video and audio, but you want to make sure that they work in your course and you don't provide page numbers and things like that. But and for the auditory learner, you can add certain things and even add YouTube videos and things like that. So the next area is create a file. This is the most important area that I need to cover today. So how you create a file, I'm going to create a file. And let's just say you have all these pages of Word documents, right? And you want to provide information to students rather than handing them out in the class, right? You would go to your Word file and you would copy your content, which I'm doing this now. You guys can't see that piece, but I'm going to state here, intent to create process, right? So I'm going to name one of the training components. But I'm also going to put it in an accessible file. And how I did that, I went to the drop down that said add upload files. And then what I would do is click on create a file. And that's what got me to this point. So once you type in the course topic you want for that particular module, you go over to the right and you select a template. And we have been encouraging faculty to click on blank. When you click on blank, you want to do two things, three things actually. You want to highlight the heading 1, and how I know it's the heading 1 is telling me here. So I highlighted it. What I'm trying to do though is take this name and type it in here. So I highlight it and I start typing intent up. Really? How did that happen? Let me cancel that. Start over. I don't know what happened there. Okay. So I'm going to do create a file. And then I'm going to name it intent to create. Okay. And then we move over to the right and you select a template. And what you're going to do, you're going to give this template the same name, intent to create. So this is the second thing. So you highlight it, you change the name, and then you go over here and you use this toolbar and you select align center so it can look nice and clean. And once you do that, you hit enter and you paste in your information that you copied from your Word document. So this is the intent to create process. And when I continue to look down and look through the process, and all I do is click save and close. And what that does for me, it now makes the file available inside the module that I created called Training 101. So we've added a Word file. We just created a create file, which is this web page. So when I go back and click on this, it will I will have the ability to look at the information and see if it's basically what I need, or I can make necessary adjustments. And I also have the ability to edit. So when I click here, I can edit HTML. And you notice with the Word file, you could not do that. So any file that you create, whether you're creating just any file that you need to create, I've seen some faculty, a lot of the English teachers in the web assisted courses, they would copy and paste their syllabus from the Word document, and they will follow this how to create a file process. And they will make their syllabus accessible so that they don't have to repeat the updates and the dates by going to the Word document each semester. What they do is they come here, they put all their syllabus information in here, and when they click edit HTML, they can go in and change the days in which they meet that they have at the top of their syllabus, their phone number and location if they've changed locations, and then they click save and close. So having everything in the accessible format, it's not only best practices, it benefits you as the instructor and how much work you will do each term for your content. Okay, this is a very important piece that all of us need to make sure we use. You can also edit your file here. We don't use the portfolio, but students have the ability to download it and print it. And then you have the ability to undraft it and draft it here as well, too. So if you don't see the features here, you can it depends basically wherever you are in the document, which route you want to go. So if I'm down here reading and I want to edit it real quick, I'll go here. But if I'm up here and want to change something, I just basically go up here and do edit. Okay. And another thing, let's just say if I misspelled a word in this piece here. Be careful about this. I'm going to just hit it. This piece is called editing properties in place. Okay. just like the restriction states that I reminded you guys that stay away from. It'll provide more work for you. When you click in the editing properties in place, I use my arrow keys to the right of the keyboard, and I use the first arrow to the right, and just make the cursor go behind the S, because if for any reason you just start typing, for example, if you just start typing, that's what you're going to get because it's highlighted for you. So what you want to do is just make sure your cursor fall behind the edit properties in place, and then you can back up and change and add words or make a correction as deemed necessary, and just hit enter. And as you step away from it, it will go back to editing properties in place. So you just remember that when you're doing it, especially for those that have long module topics, you want to keep that in mind as well. So I'm going to go back to the training 101. This piece allows you to not only upload, you can upload PDF files, you upload PowerPoints like I showed you in my best practices module. The next piece you want to do as you're creating your topics, your overviews, your objectives, your key terms, if you want to add a link, let's just say if we want to add a link and allow the students to cover COVID-19, what we can do is create a link. Okay, and then we'll go here and we'll do CNN. And what we'll do is find the CNN link, wherever it goes, and then we will just copy this link in the top. Just do Control C. Okay, just do Control C, and then start over so you won't get confused. You go here and you do create a link. Once you do the create a link, you will type in the title. Okay, and then you would just paste the URL in there, what you copied, and then the next step you would select open as an external resource and click create. And once you click create, you can go back to your module, and then you will see where the link landed after the intent to create process. So if the link was done properly, if I click on it, it should automatically open for me. Okay, and you can see that the link did work successfully. Okay, so let me see if there's anything else, because I like to keep my training simple. I don't want to give you guys information overload. For the most part, all the things you need to know for creating a module is that you start here by adding the name of your module. You can do it chapter by chapter, unit by unit, however you want to do it. Once you arrive in this area, you make certain that you put a full detailed description in the added properties in place area. Right in here and do update. Then you start building your topics. Okay, and like I stated earlier, this is your friend. Create a file. If you want me to go over that again, I can do that. And you just type the name in here, create a file, intent, rename it so I don't want to get anything confused. Select the template, the accessible template called blank, highlight blank, and type in the same name. You want to stay consistent in all your naming conventions. Then you go to this toolbar and align center. Hit enter, and then you paste all your information and click save. Okay, once you click save, like I stated, it gives you the ability to have the read speaker on. For those that doesn't want to read, it reads it for them. And there's your for file. So between this use here, uploading a file upload files and create a file and create a link. Those are the most important pieces that you're going to add within your first module. Okay. Secondly, you want to add a submodule. So if I only wanted to do, additional resources, just to find them some topics related to training, whatever my additional resources are, then a submodule will appear, and then I can start dragging and dropping information in here. So if I wanted to take this file, let me see if I can steps. I'm going to take this file from my desktop. Hopefully it'll. So what I'm doing, I'm taking a file from my desktop and I'm dragging it over. So can you see where I'm dragging it over? I pulled it from my flash drive, or you can pull it from your desktop, and you can just drag this file over. Once you drag the file over, you drop it. You drag and drop by using the left click of your mouse. Okay, and that's what that piece is there for. And then you can continue to add links and other files that you think that they need. Like I added PowerPoints and links for my additional resources. That's what I typically add. Then I go ahead and build me a third module, which is called Assessment Activities. And these are the lessons that they would do within the course room. So, but the key to this, using this piece, you got to already have your discussions, or you got to already have your items completed. So for example, I'm going to do this. I know the girl's going to kill me. So in order for me to link that quiz, I would do a training 101 quiz real quick, just name it. And then I would click save and close, right? And this would be already if the items were there. And then I would do the same thing. I have something there I can attach, so that's cool. So let me go back to the content and go back down to the assessment activities. Again, as I mentioned earlier, you would need to have your activities already created. If you start creating them, it'll be a long, tedious process. So what I would do is just make sure that we create your discussions, your assignment, Dropbox items, and your discussions, and your students will be able to have them within this frame. So what I'm going to do, I want to add all the things, like I just added a quiz, right? So I want to go get that quiz, and I click on quiz 101, and it drops right in there. And you notice when the quizzes come in, they're turned off, they're hidden. So you want to always remember to do that, to turn them on so students can see them, because you will receive a lot of emails that the students are saying, I can't see my quiz, or I can't see my discussion. It's because you did open the module here, right? You opened it here, but you forgot to go down here and make this visible as well. Then the next item I want to select is a discussion, because I know I have a discussion that goes with this module. So I would go to the discussion forum, click on required discussions, and select the class introduction. That's something that they would do the first week of class. So as you can see, I've easily added the existing activities that already resides in the course that was created. So we have the training quiz, and then we have a discussion topic. And what this is, this is how you create a module, by going here. You create a submodule by going here. What I wouldn't suggest you to do is continue to have modules within a module within a module. Name your module, whatever it's going to be, and then that way your modules can sit nice and clean within the table of contents for your students. So once they click on the module, they have the ability to see what's available by working from top to bottom of the module and completing their assignments. Okay, let's just say if I wanted to move this table of contents around. Here is an example of the drag and drop features. These are called grippers here. If my memory serves me correctly, I think they're called grippers. So you go here and I wanted to drag this module above the getting started module. So I just take my left click of my mouse, and as long as I have my line, I drop it wherever I want to drop it. Drop it means you release your mouse. So if I want to put it back, I grab this and make getting started first and put it here. Okay, so that's the drag and drop tool that you use. And you can also drag and drop within your modules the same way. Okay, and I've done that before. So for example, let me do this. Let me create a syllabus file just to create one. So I'll go here and I would name this syllabus, right? My fingers hurt. Copy this. Align center. Hit enter. And then I would start typing my information in about the syllabus and my office hours, phone numbers, all that good stuff. And once I'm done, I click save and close, right? And within the module, if you notice, when I created that, it dropped all the way to the bottom. So what you have to be mindful for, you would say, man, I know I created it, but I created it within the module, but where is it? I don't see it anywhere. It's because once you create something in D2L, it always drops at the bottom, even grade items, like I showed you yesterday. So we're going to take these grippers and we're going to put this syllabus file in the appropriate location. I'm going to scroll up till I find my appropriate location. And I want them to read the syllabus first before they do anything else within this module, right? So that's how that drag and drop feature works. Let me see. I'm trying to cover things that are important, the basic functionality of the tool. I don't want to get into any advanced because I know this is information overload. I'll do a recap on this. We have 4 sections, which is overview, bookmark, course schedule, and table of contents. We talked about these areas and the importance of them. And then you have your table of contents is where all your content weekly modules are laid out. You can label them weekly modules. You can name them chapter 1 module, module 1, unit 1. You have the flexibility to do that as long as it's consistent. You cannot have module 1 and then have unit 2 and then unit 3 and then module 4. You want to keep it consistent with your naming conventions. You have module 1 and then you put the chapter title. You add a module 2 and you put the little hyphen and you add the next chapter. Hit enter. Once you hit enter, then you have all your modules listed with consistent naming conventions. Okay, so and you continue to build out your modules until you're done. But for the most part, as I mentioned, you want to make sure that when you have created a module, you want it to basically be represented to your students similar to this module 9 purpose and tone. You want to give them a great descriptions as I stated. List your learning objectives, your overview, which your publisher may have if you don't can't think of any quickly, and then you have your additional resources, and then you have your assessment activities for them to take. Okay, and this is how it's lined up. And everything you do within these modules, you need to click on the drop-down arrow, and it'll allow you to change and update things for you. Let's just say if you take this module and you do not want to use the academic success assignment anymore, you can just take this drop down and you can say hide from users, and then it'll turn it off. And then when the students view it, they won't be able to view that particular topic. Okay, so in the module area, you have the module itself. Okay, and you can't view the module unless you click on it. Okay. And what you want to learn to do as course designers, developers, and course creators of content, you want to make certain that you have a really good, clean module and it's just not a whole lot of information everywhere. Um, this is not the place where you take information. I had a person took this information and they had it all over the place. Basically, they had something here. Um, and they had something in between the modules. So what you want is just clean module topics that make sense to the students. Just like I mentioned with the grade book, this tool, this LMS is a great feature if you keep it simple. When you make things complicated, and it's complicated for you, just think how the students review it. So you want to make certain that you have everything aligned appropriately, and with great instructions, beginning with the getting started module. You want to make sure. So use these as I indicated. Try to organize your modules in this fashion. Always have a description. Because, like I stated, if I'm logging into this class and I'm a first time user and I want to learn something about the purpose and tone, and how I should be instructed, if you state all this on the beginning, you'll have less emails. Okay. And that's basically it. Make sure that I covered everything. And again, if I didn't mention anything, oftentimes, the delete feature is here. But if I didn't mention anything, oftentimes it's no concern for you to have, especially starting at this level. You just want to learn the basic functionalities of this tool. Okay. I'm going to open the floor up for discussions, to ask questions. Um, Before I do that, though, but let me show you what I need to do for Kendall and Teresa, because I'm getting in trouble by them. I'm going to go to the starter course, and I'm going to show you how to delete the things that I've added in this course, okay, from the content tool. So the getting started is part of this starter course. So I need to get all my information out of here. So what I'm going to do is click on the module that I created. And how I simply do that, to delete it, I go to the top, click on the module first, go to the top, scroll all the way down to the bottom and click delete. And I want to permanently delete everything associated with this module, because if I don't click this particular feature, that means those files will live in the back of the course. So typically what we tend to do so quickly, as soon as we see this window of information that says delete module, we automatically just click delete. But you got to read further and delete the files that associate with it, because the files went to the back of the course. And I'll show you that. That's one piece that I got to talk about too. So that module is deleted. So I'm going to click on module 2. And I didn't put anything there, but I'm going to scroll down and delete this module as well. No associated content, but I need to just be mindful to do that. Then it's back to where it was on the content page. Okay. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to delete the quiz that I created. Oh, it automatically did it. That was something new for me. We used to have to go back and do that. So it deleted every associated file, which was good. That's good. Okay. So now this is a clean course back to where it was. So my team won't be upset with me. I'm going to go back and we're going to go to my training course. And I'm going to open up for questions. Give me a few minutes. Give me 1 second, okay? Okay, I'm open for discussion now. If anyone wants to ask a question, feel free to turn on your mic.
Kim, this is Debbie Taylor. I have a question, please. The
Uh-huh.
the Getting Started module is not in any of my course shells. None of my courses or none of my practice things. Where is that? Can that be found somewhere, or why isn't it there?
There may be two reasons. It may be you may have an older course shell that was created, or you may have accidentally deleted them and thought you didn't need them. But to resolve that, you would just put in a digital learning help desk ticket and list your CRN numbers, and the team will automatically go in and take a look at your course, make sure that they are not there, and then they will import them in for you, copy them over for you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Kim.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Who am I speaking with?
Dr. Gupta.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, actually, I have a question regarding the Dropbox, like how to create one in order to get the quizzes or the assignments to be getting there.
Okay. So on Thursday, we will be covering the Dropbox tool. So, as I indicated yesterday to the participants, we want to focus on the tool that we're training on today because it will throw the other participants' focus off. That means I'm getting into another tool. And John will be teaching that tool on Thursday and to provide you all the detailed information that you need because we want to stay on task with the content tool. Okay?
All right.
Okay. You're welcome. Next question related to content tool.
Hi, Kim. Hello,
Hi
can you hear
there.
me?
Yes, I
Hi,
can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. This is Teresa Spillers,
Okay.
and I was calling to, I was asking if you could get a class cloned or a module cloned if everyone's teaching the same thing for an English class or something. Could they just clone the whole class in the modules or within the content area?
If my memory serves me correctly, the coordinators, they already work with my team to do that. So if for whatever reason you don't have content in your course, you will reach out to your coordinator and make sure that she remembers you not only this time, but next time. He or she remembers you not only this time, but next time. Okay. It's a process that they work with the coordinators. The coordinators submit information at the beginning of the term once they've completed organizing their dates and their content, and then they give them a list of courses to be the content to be copied into.
Fabulous. Okay. Do I have to unmute or will it?
Yeah, go ahead and just click on your little microphone and it'll unmute you. It'll mute you.
Oh, it will mute me if I click on push pound or star.
Oh, okay. In your case, you would just need to just be silent.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, lady.
You're welcome. Next question.
Kim, Mr. Buss would like to know if you can repeat how to add a web page to a module. He says that when he tries it, that it becomes a link instead of a web page, or says it doesn't say web page on it.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
create a.
if that even makes a difference, I don't know. Does it?
Yeah, that's called creating a file, right? So I'm still
That's
sharing my
something
screen. Yeah, so let me go back and I can do it in here real quick. So Gary, when you get ready to create a module, let me go in here, grab some content so I can show you easily again.
This is within a module. I'm like uploading a file or a web page or something within a module.
Like, for instance, getting started.
Well, yeah, the getting started is already basically there for you. Like these topics are already there for you. Are you meaning these topics here? How do you add those? Or you want to know how
Yes.
to add a link? Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so let's start here then. Let's start over and name this module. Okay. We named that module Training 101 and this information appeared. Remember I spoke earlier about you need to put a brief description in here. This module, you is and you just put in all the detailed information you need and click update. Then this is where you start building, Gary. You start here. You can either upload a file, a PDF, a Word file. But to create an accessible file, you want to do create a file. Okay. And when you do create a file, I spelled training wrong. I'll do that later. So what we want to do is name this intent process. Okay. And then as you go over, you name the file the same name, intent process. And you go here to this align center, hit enter, and you paste your content in there. Once you paste your content in here, you click save. Now, I think I know what you mean. You mean these type links here, Gary? The way I showed you in the overview section how you can add a link in your course?
Yes, I just copied and pasted the top. What do you call it? I don't know what you call it, at the very top up there. That's all I did, but it shows up as a link. Does it really matter? It shows up as a web page or a link?
For best practices, you want this to say web page. And the only reason it may have showed up as a link is because it may be already an existing link. So I can easily create a link in here.
Oh, okay.
By going to, like I showed you earlier. Hold on, let me make sure I cover it. I don't want you to lose.
Oh, you know what? I bet that's why it's showing up as a link then. Because I am trying to copy and paste from another page.
So when you name the title, CNN, and then you paste the URL, click that and click create, that will automatically inside this module create a link for you. Okay. So that's probably why it's showing as a link, because you went here and you selected this one.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so that's why that's there.
Okay, so it's cool either way then. Okay, all right.
Well, you want to use the links for different things like additional resources, but you don't want to use a link as accessible files for students to, receive instructions. For example, if I go back here to this purpose and tone module, as I indicated, you want to make sure your modules are set up this way. You want to have a web page for everything they need to do based on their instructions. And then when you start providing additional resources, is where you would add your links and things like that. Although it's a website, but it's not the meat of their learning. You follow what I mean? And then they will go here to complete their assessment activities. So what I've done was created two submodules, which is additional resources and assessment activities. But yeah, links wouldn't be a part of their overall learning process. Follow what I mean?
Yes, I got that.
Yeah, you just can't have a course full of links. You want to reach all learners. Because with these links, for example, with this link, they just linking out to the web page, right? So if I click on that, they're linking out to the web page. And chances are, if the web page is designed good, the screen reader can read. But then within the course, though, itself, you still want to create content to where if they read their learning objectives you want to be able to provide those, Gary, so that in the event they need to turn this on, not saying that this is the accessible tool, but if the student wanted to just listen and not read themselves, they can use that. And also, when they click on this file, they can also use their screen reader because it says web page. Okay. But you want to make sure they get an understanding of what they're learning for the most part. So that's why I recommended that your modules be laid out in this fashion. Okay.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Next question.
Kim, this is Teresa. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to provide one piece of hopefully clarification. I know Deborah had asked, the Getting Starting module is not in any of my course shells. Where can I find it?
Mm-hmm.
So there's almost like some additional information that we in digital learning need to know. If you are currently looking in your summer courses that you will be teaching, you will not see anything in there at this moment, because there's a process that digital learning goes through, and there are certain things that we'll be putting into your courses. So Deborah, I don't know if that's where you were asking, and it could have been part of what happened for the spring semester, and that might be why it's not in there. But if, like Kim alluded to, if you want to put in a, excuse me, a Remedy Force ticket and those CRNs of those courses, a team member will be glad to take a look at that for you and communicate directly with you.
Thank you. I'll do that. I'm not sure. I could have deleted them from spring and summer without knowing it. I'll double check it. Thanks.
Next question. Okay. Do we have any other questions?
Kim?
Yes.
Hi, this is Loretta Hardy.
Hi, Loretta.
Back at the beginning, I think it was under, if you would show getting started and the modules that you had.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, it's right where you had the only thing that I want to get out of this course for the students is where it had the author, and there were 3 of them to inform. And it was on that page. On the top right-hand corner, it had download. What did that download, or what was that? Because I didn't see it anyplace else.
Okay, let me go back to where. Was it when I clicked on the link for the author's purpose?
Maybe that's what it was. It was actually, yeah, it showed the purpose of all that. I guess where there were 3 things. The only thing you wanted the students to get out of the course were those 3 things,
Oh, okay. Okay, I think is this here?
Yes, I thought I
Yes.
saw. Yeah, up in the top right-hand corner it says download. Can a student download that and get everything that's on the page?
See, this is a web page. Also, oftentimes other things pop up. So what you want to understand is that this download is related to the Grammarly piece.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, and students, so they are great at searching the web page. So they'll know that if they don't need that, they won't click on that, and they'll focus on what they're supposed to focus on related to the course assignments.
Okay.
But this is just a web page, and if you want that, I can put it in the chat and you can take it. I don't care. Are you teaching reading?
No.
Okay.
I'm just curious about that right there. So.
Okay, yeah, no, that download is now what you can do inside the classroom students can do this. For instance, if they wanted to, if they click on the purpose and tone objectives, they have the ability to download it here when print either way, so they can do that. So whatever is available to the students, they have the ability to take it outside the course room.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Next question. Anyone else have a question? Okay, if I don't have any more questions, that must means that we are done here today. I hope all of you stay well, and
Thank you.
we look forward to the next training tomorrow, which is the quiz tool. We will talk about the quiz tool and their basic functionalities and their series of steps. So we will focus on the quiz tool tomorrow. Okay,
Thank you.
and
Thank
y'all have
you.
a great day. You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Have a great one.
Bye. Thanks,
Bye.
Kim.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Teresa Spillers.
Is now exiting.